I said in one of our previous unboxings that I have printers, they're multiplying, and I am losing all financial control. I wasn't kidding. Last time we unboxed one. Now we're doing two. If you notice, there are now 3 printers on this table. One is in the box. This is an Ender 3 V2. We'll card to that video so you guys can go take a look at that if you want to see my review on the Ender 3 V2. This, the JGMaker Magic, it is an Ender 3 clone, except it's mirrored. These printers were buy one, get one free when we bought them. I got a pair of them for a grand total of $183 delivered. They are not great, but I have no intention of using them as 3D printers. Get subscribed because we're gonna do a build series where we turn both of these into pen plotters. This one is the free one because the free one is actually a returned printer. It has a broken extruder. The bearings on the bed are pretty much destroyed. As you can see, the extruder motor's all messed up. If you want, you can stick around for the unboxing and look at of this printer. We will not be printing with either one of them, unless you really want to see some prints from the one that's still in the box. I have no desire to print with it. This was not a great build experience. A lot of things didn't fit together well, and the T-nuts that use everything to go together with are pretty terrible. Cannot recommend. Don't buy this for your first 3D printer. Spend the money and get an Ender 3. Honestly, if you're trying to get a cheap 3D printer, Ender 3 is pretty great. And if you can pony up for a Prusa Mini, go get that. You'll have a much better experience than with either one of these guys. But is it bad? No. Is it good? Absolutely not. Do I recommend it? No. If you get the BOGO and you're a tinkerer, yeah, go ahead, go for it, you know. But, you know, your own risks. Like, it's got a broken V-wheel. Like, a V-wheel's totally broken. And you'll have to watch the footage to see that. But, yeah, not a bad machine, not a great machine. Not gonna 3D print with it. Exposed wires, the Tech Flex is a little bit better. I still think an Ender 3 is a superior machine, and I would stand by that and put my name on it. Even though these 2 printers cost less than an Ender 3 by $100, I would still choose an Ender 3 V2, personally. That's my opinion. You guys are welcome to do whatever you'd like. We will have this one full unboxing and the pair next to each other. That will be available on our Patreon if you want to see it. These are JGMaker Magic 3D printers. This was back when JGMaker was doing the buy one, get one for free, but the free one, which I'm fairly certain is this one based on labels that are not on the box that I did not take off, is actually a return. So we have no idea what's in here. Now, the nice thing is these are not going to remain 3D printers very long. We actually just launched our Patreon. I know. He said he was going to do it, and he actually did it. Yeah, it surprises me too. That took a lot longer than I wanted it to. Sorry. But one of those tiers enables you to get handwritten letters from me. And apparently I agreed to put hearts on the eyes. This is what happens when staff write the stuff and I don't. But these are actually gonna be the printers that write it. I am going to handwrite one. And then your names will be imposed onto it, and then they will be written with pen plotters. Most likely a plotter tool head from Andrew Sink. And then maybe, if we're feeling a little spicy, we'll look at doing a Mutant version 2.0 so that you guys can see the differences between them, see what pen plotters are capable of, and, well, that way I don't have to write out a bunch of letters, hopefully. Should be fun. Yeah, let's open the bad one first. Thankfully, these don't weigh a ton. They weigh, like, less than 10 pounds. So, I don't know if that tells you something about the printers, but that means, I know, much everybody's dismay, Miss Amber is not out here helping me move these because less than 10 pounds, that's within my weight limit. All right, we got an accessory bag, instructions that I probably won't read thoroughly enough and things are going to get in the way. Nice sharp knife never hurt. Well, at some point it did, just not me. Okay, so, God, this reminds me so much of a Wanhao Duplicator i3, and that is not good, ladies and gentlemen. That's a spool holder. That one's actually one of the nicer ones that we've gotten. Wait, what? This is some weird hybrid E3D and Creality clone. Hot gross. All right, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up. So this is an E3D V5 style block. The freaking screw for the block is on the wrong side. It should be on the bottom. It's an E3D style nozzle with a Mark 8 style heat break. And it looks like they're using some sort of Molex connector to put everything together. Like, this is the worst of the worst worlds, which is great because I have no intention of keeping this stock. But because it is all connector based, that will make installing the Mutant theoretically quite a bit easier. So that's a big plus. Rail with a couple of loose screws in here, like there are in my head. Got a motor here, pretty basic idler pulley. I mean, honestly, this is not impressive yet, but realize I paid $183 for both. I'm not expecting to be impressed. There is like some basic level of, okay, you know, this could be worse. We've got, ooh, we got a broken extruder. That's fun. I know it's broken because I can see plastic parts. You see all those little parts in there? Those should not be in there. This is your idler wheel that needs to be on here. Now, the nice thing is it's a Mark 8 extruder, so they're like stupid cheap. Even further, you can 3D print them. So we're gonna end up 3D printing our own. But as we talked about before, these printers were never intended to stay this way. They were always going to be turned into animals. And that's probably the Z axis. So, yep. I do like this construction of how it's all kind of hidden. We look at like the Ender 3, it's not as elegant as this, but ultimately like elegance doesn't matter if your stuff breaks. Let's flip it over because when I was doing that, when I was moving it, I saw the power supply on the bottom and we've got the stepper system all right here. So this is your motherboard. It is an Atmega 2560, so it is a ramps board, at least as far as I can tell. Drivers I've never seen before, the HR4982. So I'm guessing they're similar to the Allegro 4988s. Probably not quiet, but again, when each printer's basically costing you $90, do you really care? Because I don't. Okay, is it a touchscreen? No, it's using the standard system. Ribbon cable, generic, generic power supply. It is set to 115 volts. That means we can go and get her flipped right on back over. Power switch on this side. SD card is over here, USB cord. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this open. That is very satisfying. I don't understand manufacturers utilizing black anodized aluminum. I feel like when you're trying to make a printer on a budget like this, that it makes more sense to just not use the anodizing, just leave it the raw aluminum. I think it looks better. These are, gotta be, yeah, so this printer was definitely assembled by somebody that isn't me. We've got what I'm guessing are Z braces. One of these is probably the X-axis and the other one is probably the top rail cover for the Z. And a random, really? Let's get our bag of hardware. Filament break detection suite. Does this thing have a filament runout sensor? Seriously? It totally has a filament runout sensor. I mean, it's a very generic one. Actually, they're not even hiding how it's done. It's just a little switch. And when the filament's not there, switch isn't activated and it knows, hey, there ain't no filament in me. Fix that, please. Thank you. We've got Z-axis end stop base. We got these little scraper spudger tools, a little bit of random filament. We're not even going to try that. A spare nozzle, couple of M4 T-nuts, some M4 bolts. I bet you those are gonna be needed. Companies are starting to realize that you can cheap out on a lot of things. The one thing you shouldn't cheap out on is ball and hex keys. Thank you for not going with the real cheap, crappy hex keys that nobody likes. And the cool thing is, because we've seen this, we pretty much know what's in this box, so we're probably only going to build one of them on camera. That way it doesn't, you know, make this thing take way longer than it should, because you know me, the videos take longer than they should. Kind of basically know what we need to do at this point. We're gonna thread some of these bad boys through, get it put in right here on the edge, grab the big one, grabbing the big one. Like, I don't mind printers that are, you know, all their electronics are underneath. I actually quite prefer that because ultimately I'd rather not have something sticking out of the side. It's easier if it's all just kept underneath. And as long as like they're shielded from heat, which is a big concern on these machines, it should be fine. I'm just gonna tighten everything down. Probably fine. Again, for my purposes, it is definitely fine. Thankfully, because somebody already tried to put the screws in for me, they've gotten most of the crust out of the holes. This does not give me a lot of confidence. It is only because of that top brace that there's going to be any structural rigidity here. I'm seeing if I can build this without the instructions, which I think would be kind of hilarious if I could. They have the motor over here, which I guess given where the cables come out, that makes sense. Let me cut. I'm gonna give JGMaker a little bit of props. I mean, you know, look, give it where it's due. The Tech Flex wrapped on the wires is not bad. It's certainly better than what came on that Creality CR10 V3 clone, which if you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out if you want to see a really cheap CR10 V3. We paid something like 250 bucks for that thing. That one I actually intend to use for something. Not entirely sure what. Maybe we'll make big props. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. What should we make with that big freaking printer? Okay. Yep. Yeah. Definitely want the Z-axis motor over here. That is, looks like it needs, is it really gonna make you use the T-nuts for this? I disagree with that statement, but whatever. The problem with doing it this way and not having set screw mounts is it really messes with your Z offset. Take it for what it's worth. When you're building printers for pennies on the dollar, this is what you end up with. It's probably good. This is definitely the wire for it, so we'll just get that put on right there. Beautiful. That means this is going to come in like so. Ah, well, I can see a place that I already messed up. You have to do these before you put the whole thing on. Not a lot of strength holding this on, but this is not under a ton of stress, so it's probably fine. Boy, you know your T-nuts are not made well when they don't spin. This T-nut didn't spin. The thing is tight, but it didn't spin, and that means nothing is going to stay on. Yeah, so how do we fix this? Sometimes you can get lucky and just like rotate it yourself, because that's, we want it to rotate. If it doesn't rotate, it's not gonna latch into anything. We've got to spin a little bit, and I guess that's probably all that we need for it to bite. These both spun pretty well. Feels. Where's that lead screw? There's the lead screw. Well, that is something interesting. I don't think I've seen a company do this before. The Z lead screw is tightened against some O-rings, which is good because it definitely doesn't line up with the coupler. Yeah, I didn't even close the coupler. That must have just been cheaper to do it this way. Interesting. What's also odd is that this entire printer is backwards from an Ender 3. It's like backwards from what you expect. It is always my nemesis to deal with these rods, with these lead screws, because you get them just a little bit off and they will forever fight you. But this one, I will give them credit. They know that their manufacturing tolerances are absolute crap, which they are. It does not line up like within half a mile, it's off. But because of the little pieces they put on, everything is happy. We do need, I don't need any of this. Yeah, because we're gonna reprint this whole thing. You know what? Let's just put it on. It will be easier. We're gonna end up reprinting it all anyways, but it's like literally 2 screws and they are stupid easy to get to. So let's just do it. That is the nice thing about V-wheels. They come right off. Wasn't gonna do this, but that's all right. Where do you want these to go? It can go like this, I guess. It's not the way that I would have done it, but it does appear that is the way the factory wants us to do this. So we will do it that way. All right. I'm taking this Bowden tube out. Oh, can I? Nope. No, that Bowden tube is in the way and it's really upsetting me. Oh! I'm gonna grab one of our cameras because I get to point out why I hate V-wheels. I just noticed this. Don't know how well the camera's gonna pick it up. That, my friends, is a V-wheel with a crack in it. I definitely did not do that. It's really tough to see. If I remove some of the light, does that make it better? This V-wheel right here has a crack in it. And I can tell, if you look at where that screw is versus this one, This one is fine. This one is definitely over tightened. You can see that it resulted in a crack. It's why I don't like V-wheels. That doesn't happen with linear rails. It just doesn't. Because they're not held in compression to ball bearings. I know that V-wheels tend to be quieter, but they do need more maintenance. But yeah, that is kind of checkbox number 1 for the death of this printer. Checkbox number 2, and I guess since we have the camera, I can show you guys the extruder. That is a heat set threaded insert that would normally be right there. Here, we'll use a pointing implement. It would normally be right there. You can even see the teeth on the inside that would match up to the teeth on that insert. But no can do on that. This broke, and it's normally due to the spring tension that is put on it by this spring. These are known failures even on regular Ender 3s, that these plastic bars here end up breaking. This is no surprise to me. This thing's got a few problems, but again, this doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter to me. I mean, that wheel matters to me a little bit, but it's gonna be a pen plotter, right? It sincerely just doesn't matter to me. So anyways, I'm gonna keep trying to make this work, but yeah, that's a death sentence. That's a death sentence. If you bought this and expected 2 3D printers, you should have known better. Also, they scratched it and they used Sharpie to clean it. Like, even my top-down camera can catch that. The top-down camera is not the greatest camera on the planet. I don't mean to offend you, kind sir, but you is what you is, right? This we know goes up here, right? That we know. But what we clearly don't have is the right length for the belt, because the belt still has this pulley. Same deal, man. That is jank, like real jank. You would think that it would show you how to route the belt. It does not. Okay, so like I've been avoiding the instructions because I didn't think I needed them, but they're garbage to me anyways. What do I care? Like, I feel like I'm being taunted by a 3D printer because like, oh, I'm smarter than you. And I'm like, no, you're really not. You're just doing things in a way that's just completely against the way that anybody with, you know, yeah, like, you would think that it doesn't need this much like this. I wonder, oh, you know what? I bet that's, I betcha that's how it wants it to go. I betcha that's how it wants it. You know what? That is exactly how it wanted it to go. Okay, there. I ain't as dumb as I look. It's literally not in the instructions. That didn't take but a couple of minutes. That's the other reason why I like Prusa printers. You don't, like, there's none of this. The instructions show you literally everything you need to do to make it successful. The belt's not tight, but that's an easy fix. Again, T-nuts that don't spin. This isn't that difficult, printer manufacturers. Like, it's not. All right, cool. We got that. We've got the extruder, and it definitely wants us to take apart the extruder to put everything in here. We are not going to do that because we're not going to use it. It's broken anyways. I want to pull the PTFE tubing out of there because it is just going to get in the way for me the whole darn time. This is what you call a rigid frame. Oh, no, this is what you call, Every time these T-nuts fail, another printer dies. Good quality T-nuts don't do this. I promise you they don't do this. Crappy ones do. Yes, I'm aware if I probably followed the instructions, this would have gone a little bit easier, but the instructions are pretty bad. They don't even tell you how to route the belt. My idiot brain had to figure it out on its own. But on the plus side, if I can figure it out, you can too. Oh my God, like, I hate these T-nuts. These are truly some of the worst T-nuts I think that I've ever used. I have some inside that I know are cut well. I'm about ready to go inside and get them. This is one of the most frustrating builds that I've had. And I've built printers made of wood. I'm sure there's gonna be like that one guy that's like, I got 9 of these and they were all easy. Well, congratulations. For what we're doing, it is very, very low stress. It is very, very low demand. So if it ain't perfect, I don't care. It's nice. It comes with this little filament sensor, though. Probably wants it to go somewhere around there. Filament sensor doesn't matter to me, though. That's gone forever. I tightened up the belt. Did the belt come out? What'd you do? Belt is so loose. Whatever, dude. We will get one side in, we will get the other side in to follow it next. No big deal. Who'd have thought this frame wasn't gonna be square? I know. I'm so surprised. Please don't misconstrue this with me like being upset because the printer is below the quality that I expected it to be. This is exactly the quality that I expected it to be. I think I'm bummed that it wasn't better. I set my expectations really low for this one. There's an expected level of jank that comes with something like this. Do we need much anything else? I don't think so. All right, let's go for this big pack. I do really like this cable. I wish that more printers did that to where they just use one big cable pack. It's got a place for some cable management, basically right there. Maybe right there. We've got a couple of cable ties over here that we need to cut. Okay. The bed is now free to move. Oh, that is crunchy. Crunchy, crunchy. There is absolutely no script for this video. Oh, look, more T-nuts that didn't work. The reason that these don't fit is something is not machine to spec. Either the T-nuts are too big or the rail itself is too small. Okay, I got one for sure to bite. Awesome. Ooh, and I think I got the other one to bite too. Nice. Oh, gosh. Oh, what a noise. Oh, those bearings are pissed. I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the noise that printer is supposed to be making. Let's get a power cord. It is not the one the printer came with, but it is one that I already pre-prepared. It's got a warning label that says, make sure it's 110 volts. We already know that it is. All right, let's scoot you back a little bit so I can see the magic. 3D printer, wow! That is a really loud fan. All right, well, let's mess around with it. This is exactly what I expect a cheap printer to look like. Okay, so you guys can now also see the screen. I'm going to instantly put this printer in thermal runaway. And to do that, I need to remove, there is a screw on the side over here for the thermistor. So I have to get the right size Allen key. We're going to basically immediately kill this printer. I guess we should put a warning. I am a trained professional. Don't do this at home. Don't be stupid. Don't hurt yourselves. It doesn't have the right size Allen key. It deliberately doesn't want you to touch that stuff. Grab some spare Allen keys. Again, we're going to, yep, that's the ticket. We're going to remove the one for the thermistor. Once we remove the thermistor, it will no longer know what temperature the hot end is at. And that means it should send it into thermal runaway. You can see from the top view, that is your glass bead thermistor. The printer now has no idea what temperature the hot end is going to be at. Okay, so we've got the printer set up in an instance where thermal runaway would occur. I have removed the glass bead thermistor. This printer is running Marlin. This is a very standard screen that you would see on a printer running Marlin. Now we're going to test thermal runaway. Thermal runaway is when the printer does not know what temperature it is, so it just continues to heat and heat and heat and heat. Now you can set this. Some printers, like the Prusas, are, I believe, 5 degrees in 30 seconds. Some printers can last a lot longer. Some are very, very short. It all depends. So let's click the button. Let's go to control. Let's go to temperature. Let's take the nozzle to 150 degrees. Spoiler alert, the nozzle is not going to get there, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to test this. I've got a piece of a plastic bag because I don't have a K-type thermocouple handy. I've got one somewhere, but I don't know where. So we're gonna let this thing sit here. I'm guessing it's going to get very hot. But does this have thermal runaway? Let's see, is this bag gonna melt? Oh yeah, that's getting nice and sticky. So yes, the printer is warming itself. Now let's give it 30 seconds.
1 minute later, thermal madness has set in.
It's getting hot in here, so activate thermal runaway. Please, please, please. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Hey! All right. Well, that's a plus. It took a lot longer than I was comfortable with, and this thing is going to be stupid hot. Oh, yeah. Yep, just, oh, that's, full of cancer. So, okay, at least it's got thermal runaway. Now we get to have some fun real quick. So we're gonna push the thermistor back into the hot block. I wanna see where it's at, because it should start to read pretty quickly. Okay, the printer got up to 185 centigrade. So now it is coming back down. Okay, well, that's at least a bit of a plus, I guess. You know, it's got some semblance of thermal runaway. It's not what I like to see. I like to see thermal runaway activated a little bit earlier than that. But hey, the fact that they got it makes me a little bit happier. Makes me feel comfortable that the people that also bought these are like, wow, buy one, get one free 3D printer. How bad can that be? Well, at least it's not burn your house down bad. I don't like the way that they keep the glass bead thermistor in. It's literally just a little piece of sheet metal that they screw against the thermistor to keep it in. I don't like these glass bead thermistors anyways. I mean, even on the Prusa beds, I just don't like them. I think that they don't last compared to the cartridge style that is in an E3D V6. It takes a little long for the printer to understand where it's at. This will be useful for us for the upgrades that we're doing because everything goes through a centralized cable. So, hey, bonus points for that. If you were going to buy these printers and turn them into pen plotters, TLDR, it'd probably work all right. I mean, other than this crappy SD card, the extruder motor that doesn't work, the filament runout sensor I don't care about, the printer's done. Basically, this is an Ender 3 clone, and we knew that going into this, right? Single Z-axis lead screw, generic motors, old crappy Marlin on a, you know, old school style screen. Bearings that sound like they haven't been lubricated in centuries. I don't even want to know the condition of those smooth rods. But like, seriously, this is an Ender 3. Let me show you. Ender 3. They just mirrored it. The extruder would be over here rather than over here on the Ender 3. Is this a bad printer? Probably. Is it a bad printer for what we paid? No, it's actually not. If you are a hobbyist and you want a really cheap 3D printer, they have this deal again. I mean, it's not that bad. It ain't good, but it ain't bad. I don't like these generic build tax services. They certainly don't last. And I would bet, yeah, I'd bet dollars to donuts that bed is absolute trash. Well, let's take a look at some of the wiring. Let's see how the wiring looks on this. I'm really interested in the bed wiring. Oh gosh, why Grant, why did you even decide to do this? Seriously. You can see the live solder joints, ladies and gentlemen. There is absolutely no covering that whatsoever. They did not even try. Why? 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 I'm frustrated because we bought these knowing that they weren't going to be great. I'm upset for people that bought these as like their first 3D printer and don't know what they're getting themselves into, because they likely had a poor experience in this industry. I'm turning this fan off. It's so dang loud. They likely had a bad experience in this industry, and I hate when people have bad experiences. So I'm gonna get this printer off of this box. I'm gonna get this box open real quick. We're not going to assemble that printer, but we are going to get it out of the box. I wanna see if they're the same or if they're different. This one has cutters in it. I got gypped. Last one didn't have any cutters. Apparently made in the USA. All right, I'll give them credit. Those look good. I wanna remove a couple of things. I wanna see how different these are, if they are different. Okay, they're not different. This one sounds better. That extruder is not broken yet. It's a matter of time. We saw with the first one that it's simply a matter of time. Now we know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. These are identical printers. This one's just in, you know, better shape physically, probably emotionally as well, but they have no idea what's coming for them. Anyways, guys, stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. be careful with cheap 3D printers, honestly. Next week, we're going to have a $50 3D printer. And, I expected this one not to have thermal runaway. I'm pretty much guaranteeing the $50 3D printer doesn't. But yeah, stay safe out there. Make sure your printers have thermal runaway. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Is it my own hair? Where's it coming from? Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you are intrigued to see what is in this box, make sure you get subscribed to our Patreon. We'll have that linked for you down in the description. We'll post some photos of this on Twitter and on our Instagram when I have it fully unboxed, so you can see what the bad one and the maybe not so bad one look like next to each other. Until then, guys, the video right below me is going to be the review that we did on the Ender 3, and next to it is going to be a handpicked video made especially for you. I'll see you guys down in the comments. Take care.